Coming up on this edition of Second Alarm, we'll learn about the silent killer, carbon monoxide, and how you can protect yourself at home. We will follow a first grade class during a fire drill and learn why it's important to practice fire drills at home and at school. Plus, Spokane firefighters made a special delivery to the students of Stevens Elementary. Those stories and much more coming up on this edition of Second Alarm. Hello and welcome to this edition of Second Alarm. I'm Assistant Chief Brian Schaefer. Carbon monoxide is an odorless, colorless, and tasteless gas that kills more than 150 Americans each year. You can protect yourself and your family by installing carbon monoxide detectors in your home. Fire Marshal Lisa Jones has more.
Well, they call it the silent killer because it's colorless, odorless, tasteless, and poisoning, early onset symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning can go undetected. There are flu-like symptoms, nausea, dizziness, drowsiness. So you could go for a significant period of time thinking maybe you have the flu, stay home, barricaded in, which is even more hazardous. And that carbon monoxide buildup can result from fossil fuel appliances or even your fireplace not burning properly. So you could have a buildup of carbon monoxide and you're feeling tired and fatigued, and folks might not seek treatment when they need to. So that buildup accumulation of carbon monoxide in your bloodstream can be fatal ultimately. We get called out every year, frequently enough for something that's preventable. Here's a common location for carbon monoxide buildup. We're in a basement of a home. We have a gas-fired water heater and a gas-fired furnace. It's a semi-enclosed space. You can have a buildup of carbon monoxide gas down here. And it's important to have a CO detector down here to alert the people upstairs. You might have pets down here. You might have a cat or a dog that frequents this area, even if the humans don't as much. So it's really important to protect your family, your animals, your home. Carbon monoxide buildup can happen quickly. You could have a cracked heat exchanger, for example, in your furnace. Upstairs in your fireplace, you could have a cracked flue liner. You can have your damper not open all the way, so you can have that carbon monoxide blowing back into your home and accumulating to a lethal level. The fire department recommends that people install carbon monoxide detectors on every floor of their home and outside of sleeping areas, so in the hallway where the bedrooms are located. In fact, state law requires, as of January 1st, 2013, that carbon monoxide detectors be installed in most existing residential occupancies as well. People living in rental units have the right to be protected by a carbon monoxide detector, so fire department highly recommends these anyway, even if law doesn't cover your workplace or your dwelling, that you have a carbon monoxide detector because of the hazards. We recommend that you get the digital readout units. They're very simple to install. They're as simple as plugging into an electrical outlet. The digital readout gives you the parts per million of contamination if your detector does activate. The other ones are similar to a smoke detector. They can be screwed into the wall or ceiling, and it's important to follow the manufacturer's installation guidelines on those installations or placements. They also have a life, like many small appliances, of about 5 to 7 years, so they'll have to be replaced on somewhat regular basis. So when you're checking your smoke detectors, checking your batteries, like smoke detectors, they have a life of about 8 to 10 years. So they're just a handy, very affordable device to keep your home and your family safe.
Audubon Elementary School recently held a fire drill, and the crew from their neighborhood fire station was there to observe. For the students, it's a chance to learn about fire safety at school and at home.
Okay. So what's going to happen is when you hear that sound or you see that alarm, you're going to line up, okay? Mrs. Brown.
We've been working with the schools, both private and public schools throughout Spokane for the past several years. We contact the school principals and schedule a fire drill that works for both of our schedules, and we go out and stand by and monitor the fire drill.
Good.
It's very, very helpful in planning for both the schools and for our firefighters in case we have a fire or emergency medical response.
We go to the schools to make sure that all the safety precautions are being met. We also check the sprinkler systems if they happen to have one, make sure access to the school isn't being blocked by either the kids or other rigs parking in improper areas. Make sure that all the lights, safety lights and exits are adequate, and just make sure essentially that the kids and teachers can get out of the school safely.
Good job, Erica.
We'll also be able to evaluate whether their meeting place is a place that blocks the fire hydrant or a standpipe connection or a sprinkler connection. So it's a very good opportunity for both firefighters and school staff to look at emergency planning.
We try to remind the principal or the teachers to ask about smoke detectors, escape plans, make sure everything's in place to get the kids out quickly. Smoke detectors in particular are extremely important.
You know, looking at your emergency egress, so you have your normal path in and out of the school, when you have an emergency or fire building evacuation situation, you might not be able to go out that same way that you normally come in. So it lets the teachers and the students think about their emergency exits that they don't normally use.
The Spokane Fire Department recently deployed video laryngoscopes to our paramedics in the field. This new tool promises to improve care to our citizens and help our paramedics with difficult intubations. Dr. Scott Edminster has more.
What we're doing is an in-service in which we are going to sort of roll out to the paramedics this new video laryngoscopy system that we've decided to begin using here in the City of Spokane Fire Department. The reason why we have decided to do this is because we've recently reviewed our intubation success rates and found that they were pretty close to the national standard average, but we felt like that wasn't good enough and we'd like to be a little bit more successful, and so we started kind of looking around for options, ways that we might actually be more successful. And what we found is that this video laryngoscopy system makes it, I think, quite a bit easier for paramedics to succeed with intubation. I think there are a whole lot of reasons why possibly we're having less success than perhaps would be optimal, but I think part of the reason is we have some new tools that make it so that paramedics don't have to opt for intubation as often as they used to in the past. We have CPAP now, which makes it easier for us to treat people with congestive heart failure without doing intubations. We have King Airways that are very handy if you have to get some air into someone right away in the setting of cardiopulmonary arrest and some of those situations. So our paramedics are having less experience with intubation, so we've decided to go to a piece of hardware that's going to make it a little bit easier to facilitate successful intubation. And we're particularly interested in being sure that they're successful on the first try. So what we've done is we've purchased this King Vision video laryngoscopy system, and the reason we picked this rather than some of the other systems that have been around a little longer is because this I think this is more like what they're used to doing. It sort of simulates the normal intubation procedure that the paramedic is used to doing. So what this thing does that a direct laryngoscopy didn't do was it provides you a very nice view of the vocal cords, a full view of the vocal cords. So the paramedic can, using this tool, know with 100% certainty whether that tube went between the vocal cords and is in the trachea versus not in the trachea. Whereas in the past, with direct laryngoscopy, you couldn't get a full view of the cords all the time. So you'd put the tube in and you thought maybe it was in the right place, but you just didn't know absolutely for sure, and perhaps the patient wasn't getting ventilated properly in the meantime. And we think this is going to obviate that problem. We think we're going to be able to get people intubated on the first try most of the time. Hopefully all the time, but pretty close to all the time anyway is our goal. You know, the worst thing that can happen is that we get a tube in the wrong place and we ventilate someone's stomach instead of their lungs. It's not good for the brain when it goes without oxygen for a long period of time. So we feel like this is a good investment for the citizens of Spokane.
Just in time for winter, students at Stevens Elementary got a big surprise from Spokane firefighters. A new coat for every child in the school.
All right, what do you think? That looks pretty good. Nice work.
We're giving out
over 550 coats to the kids here at Stevens Elementary today. It's a great deal, and you know, it's just, you know, we get caught up and we work, we go on 911 emergencies, but on our days off, we're just looking for ways to find ways to give back to the community, and this is a way that we can do that.
All right, that looks good.
And all the teachers here that helped put this together. There's a lot of work to get 553 coats.
Mike Bacon is our first district rep to the state council, and he was at a meeting, and they were talking about this Coats for Kid program, and he thought, you know, this is a terrific deal. We have cold winters in Spokane. Let's bring this back here. So he came over and he approached our executive board, and our union jumped all over it, saying this is a really good way that our union membership, firefighters of Spokane, can give back to the community.
What do you say?
We all live here, and we feel very fortunate, and you know, there's some people that aren't as fortunate as us, and I talked to a little kid in here earlier that said, you know, this is the first new coat I've ever had, and that really touched me, because you know, it's a lot of these kids, their coats have all come from older brothers and sisters or cousins or maybe a secondhand store, but today they all got brand new coats to wear this winter.
There we go. What do you think of that? Is that a good coat?
They're very excited, and as I said, at recess, I pulled up here today, they were on recess, there were kids out there in sweatshirts, t-shirts, and I was thinking, man, it's a cold day today. I got a jacket on and I'm cold, so it's really nice to get to leave here with a coat today.
This month's Recall Roundup from the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission highlights products that may be a danger if swallowed by small children.
Welcome to Recall Roundup. Check to see if you have any of these recalled products in your home. Dunecraft is recalling water balls, skulls, orbs, and flower toys. Now, when this marble-sized toy is ingested, it can grow up to 400 times its size, and you can just see how large it can become. And these do not show up on an X-ray. This is a serious ingestion hazard. An 8-month-old child did swallow water balls and suffered an intestinal obstruction, and this had to be surgically removed. So take these away from children immediately. Contact Dunecraft, and Dunecraft will send you a free replacement toy. These high-powered magnet sets sold under the Dino Cube brand name are being recalled. When 2 or more magnets are swallowed, they can link together inside a child's intestine and cause intestinal obstructions, blockages, sepsis, and even death. These particular ones were sold on Amazon.com, DinoCube.com for about $20 as desk sets and novelty items. If you have these, contact the company Reese Innovations, that's the importer, right away, and they will give you your money back. And finally, Enesco is recalling Shelley's Diner collectibles. Now, the diner's power adapter can overheat, and that can melt the plastic housing, and that is a fire hazard. The power adapter lights the exterior lights of this diner. Shelley's Diner was sold as part of Department 56 Original Snow Village for about $120. So if you have these, there are certain date codes that are involved you will need to check for. But you want to contact Enesco, you can either get a free replacement adapter or you can get a full refund. Check our website, saferproducts.gov, for more information about these and other recalls. And don't forget to download our free Recalls app at recalls.gov on your Droid smartphone.
That's all for this edition of Second Alarm. Check our YouTube channel for back episodes and other fire safety related videos. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop us a line at fire@SpokaneFire.org or give us a call at 509-625-7000. Thanks for watching, and please stay safe.